stocks. Does today's Rajaratnam verdict indicate that law enforcement of Wall Street regulations is now more effective? My next guest is Harvey Pitt. He's the former chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission. Currently, he's the co-founder and chief executive of Kalorama Partners. He joins us from Washington, D.C. Harvey Pitt, thanks for joining us. Does the use of wiretaps in SEC cases, does this now break new ground for the future of regulatory authority?
Well, I think it's a bigger use than we've seen in the past, and I think it was put to very effective use. So I'm sure prosecutors will try to make use of this in the future, and they should.
Raj Gupta, who has not been criminally charged, he's been charged in a civil suit by the Securities and Exchange Commission for passing insider information to Raj Rajaratnam. What's his future look like from the position of the SEC?
Well, I can't really speak directly to that, but what I can say is that this conviction is a spectacular victory for the prosecutors and for the SEC, and it will encourage them to take aggressive steps to put a stop to anything that they consider to be insider trading. So this is likely to ratchet up the pressure on anyone thought to have engaged in insider trading.
Harvey Pitt, what does this mean for the self-regulating aspects of Wall Street? Does that mean that that's gone and that's now history?
No, I think what it means is that people are going to have to ratchet up their compliance efforts and the like. I think that the last big lessons were learned a quarter of a century ago, and people are either too young to have learned those lessons or are sufficiently old enough that they've forgotten them. But now people are going to have to sit up and pay careful attention to their compliance activities.
And I would imagine this includes more than just insider trading, all aspects of compliance.
Well, it does, and in particular because the Dodd-Frank Act now extends complete regulation over all hedge funds, and that will be a source of new concern, I think, for the government in terms of tracking down inappropriate securities activities.
Do you feel, Harvey, that there is going to be any kind of repercussion from any of the large financial institutions as a result of this verdict?
Well, I don't know, but I would assume that to the extent that these charges have all been sustained and found to have merit, many of the large financial institutions are going to beef up and be more careful about how they do business and with whom they do business. But there's no question that this will have a reverberating effect on Wall Street.
Harvey Pitt, does this mean the end to expert networks, sources of information that investors might actually use?
It doesn't mean the end to them, but what it does mean is that people who make use of them have to understand exactly what it is they're purchasing and ensure that what it is they get is not something they're not supposed to have. So there are a lot of steps that companies can take if they want to use expert networks. But given all that we've seen, companies have to be very cautious and careful and make sure that they have protected themselves from even an inadvertent violation of insider trading laws.
Harvey Pitt, does this extend to corporations that are not in the financial services industry because someone has to supply the information in the first place?
Absolutely. This will apply to any corporation that is publicly held or any entity at all, whether a corporation or not, that comes into information that is meant to be confidential. The fact that the government has racked up so many indictments and then convictions is a sign that there's a lot of seriousness going on with respect to any kind of inappropriate stock trading activity.
All right. I want to thank you very much, Harvey Pitt, former Commissioner, Securities and Exchange Commission.